It feels like this is a story we've seen play out time and time again in the gaming industry. A game gets announced, a trailer comes out, and gamers react. They speak out about it. They say there's something in here that we just don't like, whether it's the game mechanics, whether it's the character design, whether it might be the story that they're trying to put out there. And the games journalists, the media out there, they run defense for these companies. They say, no, gamers are just racists and bigots, and if you don't like it, don't buy it. And then, of course, the story evolves. The game actually comes out. It completely disappoints everyone, and still the game's journalists defend it to the ends of the earth. Well, now here we are with the game Star Wars Outlaws for Ubisoft, a game that they've invested a lot of money in, included a massive marketing budget. And even though it took games journalists a while to start admitting that, yes, some of the criticisms that people had very early on about Star Wars Outlaws did turn out to be true, it looks like it might be too little too late, because Star Wars Outlaws is struggling. Star Wars Outlaws reportedly selling poorly. And we talked about a week or two ago when internally Ubisoft lowered their projections for sales. They thought it was going to do 7-8 million units by the end of the fiscal year. So that's March of next year, by the way. But instead, they dramatically lowered that to around 5 million units sold. And when you had that combined with the poor physical release sales numbers that we do have, Ubisoft's stock price took a massive hit. This is a company that's lost about 80% of its stock value over the past 5 years, and now they're sitting at a near 10-year low. Star Wars Outlaws launch causes Ubisoft's stock market collapse. Analysts cut expected sales numbers. And now, after all of this, you have investors that are speaking out and demanding that Ubisoft take action, specifically by removing the CEO and potentially even taking this company private. Ubisoft's stock price dropped 7% as company faces pressure from investors to take company private, and Star Wars Outlaws sales are soft. Ubisoft, the company behind Star Wars Outlaws, X-Defiant, Assassin's Creed, and Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, saw its stock price drop 7% in a single day as it faces pressure from investors to take the company private, as well as reports of soft sales for Star Wars Outlaws. The stock price has fallen to a low of 13.67 euros. Specifically, it fell over 7% in the past day. According to Yahoo Finance, the stock price has declined 16% over the past 5 days, 41% in the last 3 months, and over the past 5 years, it is down 81%. That is rough, especially when you compare it to some other competitors that they have not having the same problems. The most recent stock drop comes in the wake of Star Wars Outlaws reportedly having soft sales, as well as Slovakian investment firm AJ Investments urging the company to go private. First, it was reported that Star Wars Outlaws sales were performing much worse than Star Wars Jedi Survivor in the UK. In the UK, we do get pretty good data about physical sales numbers. Now, that's only a handful of actual total sales, right? We do understand that. But when your launch is 55% less than the most recent similar Star Wars game to release, that's always going to be a cause for concern. And then we started to get data indicating, just in general, people are not playing this game. This data seemed to be reflected in a report from True Trophies that detailed the game only hit 25th place in the top 40 most popular PlayStation games chart the week it debuted. Number 25 is just below the middle of the chart and sits behind pretty much every major and middling live service game in terms of popularity right now. Normally, these early 20 spots are where PS Plus indie games debut, not new AAA open world games. In its second week on the chart, the game fell to 28th place. For comparison, Concord was 29th on the chart during its early access and open beta weekends. That's a rough place when you're being compared to a failure like Concord. And now you have investors that are reaching out and saying you have massive problems with this company and something needs to change immediately. On top of what looks like poor sales, AJ Investments sent an open letter to the board of directors from Ubisoft urging the company to go private or sell to a strategic investor. In the letter, the investment firm specifically took issue with Ubisoft lowering of its revenue outlook for the second quarter when Star Wars Outlaws was released. The recent quarterly results, which included the postponement of key games and lowered revenue outlook for quarter 2 of 2024, have heightened our concerns about management's ability to deliver value to shareholders over the long term. Share price of Ubisoft decreased by more than 40% over the last year compared to the rise of its competitors and indexes. Ubisoft at its current state is mismanaged and shareholders are hostage of the Guillemette family members and Tencent who takes advantage of them. Management is focused on pleasing investors with beating quarterly results and not focusing on long-term strategy to provide exceptional experience for gamers. This is a nightmare for Ubisoft, and they have another game coming out later this year, Assassin's Creed Shadows, which has been full of controversy as well. Obviously, Assassin's Creed, a massive franchise, still expected to sell millions and millions and millions of units, but is it going to live up to what they invested in it and what they expected something like this to do with all the controversy surrounding it? The warning signs were out there. Right? When people first saw Star Wars Outlaws, they voiced their concerns. They said, hey, we think there's some issues with this. We think there's some problems with the character. Some of the game mechanics do not look great. The graphics look abysmal. But Ubisoft and the mainstream media, they said, hey, nothing to worry about, just some bigots out there. Well, now it looks like any expectations they had for this game, the idea that they thought this is just going to be super massive for them, it's falling flat on its face. Gamers told you, gamers warned you, you told them to fuck off, and it sounds like they may have done just that. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments section below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.